Ready for lunch.
Did he say lunch?
No, I said lunch. Go!
Pups, get ready to launch!
PAW Patrol, the mighty movie. One of the most iconic preschool franchises is back on another big screen adventure. And you know what that means, right? Yes, since you chose to watch this, it's time to listen to a childless millennial talk about his opinion about a children's movie meant for the youngest of audiences for several minutes. Or, as it is commonly known, the highest quality of sophisticated content. Alright, seriously though, I remember reviewing the first movie back in 2021. And to be very honest, despite never seeing an episode of the show or having any kids of my own, I think it's unironically pretty good. Okay, I won't go as far and say that it's one of the best things I've seen or anything like that. It's obvious that it's primarily for children, and it does have to oversimplify itself so that even the ones too young for school would understand. Then again, there are some things that the filmmaking team did in the feature that I find myself to be surprisingly impressed with. Like the heartfelt message of facing your fears, the really nice animation, and the action scenes that can get engagingly intense. So when Paramount announced that not only there was going to be a sequel, but that the pups would also become superheroes in there, I already felt optimistic about it. Sure, I'm not expecting this to be across the Spider-Verse with puppies, but if it's anything like the first one, then there is a chance that I may find myself having a good time with this. So now that the dogs got a super upgrade, will they be able to deliver a meteoric sequel? Or are their powers not strong enough for another movie? Let's find out. The story. What I was surprised to find is that Rubble was able to describe the sequel in just a few words.
We're gonna need a new name for ourselves. How about the PAW Patrol? But more. With just a little bit extra.
And that's pretty much what you get with the mighty movie. It's the same PAW Patrol that you got from the predecessor, except now the pups have superpowers. Outside of that, the story is about one of the dogs having trouble dealing with their personal insecurities. And as the PAW Patrol work together to make sure the city is safe from threats in the sky, the central pup must overcome their problems to show why they are a valuable member of the team, complete with highlighting Liberty's inclusion to the game.
1, 2, 3. Whoa! Ugh. Okay. It's not the power of flight.
However, to change things up from before with the narrative, instead of putting the focus on Chase overcoming his trauma, now it's about Skye dealing with her self-doubt of being the smallest of the group. Technically, this is something that the movie would be heavily criticized for, as it blatantly copies the same formula from the first film and make the writing feel lazy, which doesn't help with the fact that the storytelling is as simplistic as it gets. And yet, I can't help but feel like slamming the movie for that is too harsh, and it's a criticism that is unwarranted. Yes, it weakens the writing's quality, but this picture is not trying to achieve cinematic sophistication. I mean, this is PAW Patrol, not Oppenheimer. What it primarily wants to do is to entertain the children and create an adventure where they can come along for the ride. And if what they did worked in the first film, then why not do it again so that they can have that familiarity that this is a PAW Patrol movie with the same city-saving action and heroic puppies they came to expect?
We got superpowers. Surf's up. Awesome. Coming in hot.
Whoa! Are you okay?
That's why I wear a hard hat.
And I will give it credit that it does provide enough moments to grab kids' attention throughout the picture and maybe even give older viewers a bit of fun in the meantime. The film supplies enough action that gives the scenes the right amount of intensity to be engaging and knows how to play with the concept of the puppies gaining superpowers, giving them enough time to show what each can do and at least provide an entertaining purpose with their new abilities. That, and there is plenty of humor to keep the mood lighthearted, on top of the cheesy tone establishing that it rightfully doesn't take itself seriously. The kids will probably laugh more than the adults, but there are some jokes in this that I'll admit that I did find funny.
Get over where?
Great! Now the clumsy pup shoots fireballs out of his paws.
However, there is one thing that did bother me about this feature that I cannot overlook, even if this is a children's film. I think the story here is a bit of a downgrade because the emotional core is not as well handled as before. What made the first movie a pleasant surprise is that it has a strong heart that provides a great message about being scared, and uses it to present the bond between Chase and Ryder. In the sequel, it does have an idea about emphasizing its signature motto of no job is too big, no pup is too small. That alone is a fantastic premise for a Paw Patrol movie. The way they delivered it, however, is not only messy, but it's also not as effective as it may think. In fact, I'd argue that's the biggest problem with the powers. Along with doing little to present the relationship between Ryder and the little pup, the film made Skye too dependent on her superpowers, never showing a moment that she's able to do great things without them, which feels like her actions and motivations contradict with the overall message. What is this movie trying to say? That you need to become a superhero to compensate for your small stature? There was a great concept, but the execution is a disappointment.
I didn't do it.
But are the kids going to notice and have issues with this? Most likely not. Personally, I do find the story to be weak, but there is enough action and comedy that the young fans will enjoy. I mean, isn't that what matters most? The animation. Okay, I'll admit that a lot of what I said in regards to the visuals of the first film will be the same for the Mighty movie. Not a lot has changed between the two, and the quality remains the same. To which I find to be a great thing because the animation is really good. What I find to be the most admirable aspect of the first Paw Patrol movie was how it took the style of the series and elevated for the feature to keep the same recognizable look, but now with more details, a grander environment, more intricate camera angles, and greater danger that the pups must face. The same can also be said with the sequel. I won't give this animation the highest praise. I mean, the style plays it safe and doesn't go beyond the realms of what it regularly does to innovate the medium. That, and the backgrounds are generic with the way that Adventure City is just that. A typical city with the regular places that these movies often go to, like the hero's headquarters or the villain's lair.
I think we've got superpowers. And that's why I wear a hard hat.
Then again, the rest is still solid, like the animators made the most to apply all the details they need to make the city feel like it's alive and the characters to feel soft as much as they look friendly. That, and the filmmaking team did go all out with the action scenes. They are easily the highlights of the sequel, and the film makes sure the audience gets to view it from the best angles to emphasize the danger they are faced with and have the situations they encounter feel as big as the city itself. But when you add the superheroes to the equation, they give the movie that extra spice to introduce this new level of creativity that the animators could take advantage of. I've already said that each pup got a moment to show off their abilities, and the way they are used for the action can be comparable to some of the better superhero flicks out there, as they provide the film with literally bright new colors to make the supernatural elements stand out and give the effects the spotlight to showcase their abilities that they really are super. The powers give the Mighty movie a fast pace and make the moments feel additionally exciting to see how they would use them to help people and stopping the bad guys.
Alright, puppies! Playtime's over! When you go up against one of us, you go up against all of us.
I'll even mention that the vehicles are pretty cool in this too. Yes, like last time, the movie is unapologetic to the point that it's self-aware how it presents the Paw Patrol's new wheels and wings as the next hot toy that would send fear to any parents' wallets. But I'm not gonna lie, this does a great job in selling them because there are times when they show their transformations and their features as a way to help enhance the mood that awesome things are going to happen.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
New Chase Mighty Transforming Cruiser comes soon.
Maybe I'm mostly repeating myself with how the movie looks, but with the addition of the superpowers. Either way, this is to say that the animation was great in the first film, and it is also great in the sequel. The characters. As it is a movie based on a preschool franchise, you shouldn't expect the characters to face deep philosophical complexities with their personalities. I mean, if you're expecting Rubble to ponder if his role as the construction worker of the team is similar to playing God with how he builds and destroys, then you will be severely disappointed.
Rubble, are you okay?
Rock and roll!
No, the characters here are as one-dimensional and straightforward as they get. And for what this movie is, that's fine. As long as the young ones understand who they are, then they did their job. However, that doesn't change that there are some who can have their own set of issues, or that they're not as presentable as they were in the first feature. While the entire PAW Patrol is present to supply a taste of their traits and show off their powers in action, the main pup of this feature is Skye, the littlest dog of the team whose size makes her feel insignificant. But that all changed when she got her new superpowers from the meteor, and feels more resourceful than ever before. However, as I previously stated, one thing that made the movie's message fall flat is her dependency on the powers. In fact, there are times when that weakness can make her feel like the most small-brained of the group. I get that the movie wants to have a moment where the villains achieve their ultimate power in order to feel as imposing to the PAW Patrol as possible. But without spoiling anything, the lengths that this movie goes in order to make that happen end up making Skye look desperate, as if even the feature agrees that she is nothing without her abilities.
The meteor's heading straight for us! Get down!
There is also the human leader of the team, Ryder, whose heart from the last film feels like it's gone and only wants to be the responsible commander of the PAW Patrol to a fault, as if his relationship with the puppies is strictly business. Then you have Liberty, who has her own side plot of trying to figure out what makes her special among the team, since she didn't get her powers like all the other puppies. Unfortunately, that arc went almost nowhere, and she's mostly left on the side to be the trainer of the Junior Patrollers, a trio of Pomeranians who are just loud kids.
Are you three puffballs serious about joining the PAW Patrol one day?
Yes! Absolutely! More than anything in the entire universe!
As for the villains, on top of Humdinger making his return to thwart the dogs, there is also Victoria V. Vance, the evil scientist who wants to prove to the world that she is the greatest. But whatever you do, don't call her a mad scientist. Although I will say that she is mad thick though. But out of all the characters here, I find that both Humdinger and Victoria are the most enjoyable. Yes, they may be the typical evil politician and scientist, but they're responsible for providing the amusingly cheesy tone where they have so much fun with being stereotypically evil, along with having most of the funniest moments that both kids and adults can have a laugh.
It's a deal. Shake on it. Perfect.
Of course, I cannot talk about this movie without mentioning the prominent celebrities that are among the cast. And I must say that The Mighty Movie is one of the most blatant examples of using big names in animated movies purely for marketing reasons. I could give them a pass for overacting here because it is to be expected in a movie like this, but with the exception of Taraji P. Henson as Victoria, it is shameless how the roles of these stars have little to no purpose to the story. Some could argue that they're just fun cameos, but their names show up more in the advertising more so than their voices do in the film itself. There are some like Kristen Bell and James Marsden that are able to hang around for a whole scene, but then there are others who are only there to say literally one line. In fact, here is the scene featuring Chris Rock.
Oh my goodness! I can talk! I have so much to say!
Give me that.
And that was it. That's all he says. Yet that is enough to give him his own poster. And speaking of which, how could I forget the great return of the Kim Kardashian poodle?
You're in the PAW Patrol. I was thinking maybe I should join. I mean, not to do the rescues or anything, obviously, but like your social media or whatever.
Thank you, Kim. PAW Patrol would never be complete without the essential inclusion of your acting skills. I don't mind if the performances are over the top or if they don't have much of a character arc, and I did enjoy the villains. But the best that I could say about the Paw Patrol themselves and the celebrities is that at least they did their jobs, but it's better not to expect anything more from them. Did I have a good time with this film as much as I did with the first? Honestly, no. But this is not a movie that's created for people like me in mind. This is strictly a film made for children. So the real question is, will they enjoy this movie? In that regard, I think yes. Paw Patrol, the mighty movie, delivers exactly what little fans are looking for in this. The pups saving the day with their new superpowers. With its solid animation that features a good amount of engaging action and comedy that even grown-ups can enjoy, this will give kids a good dose of Paw Patrol entertainment like what the first film achieved. However, its purpose does not go further than that. Some aspects are excusable, like its simplistic writing and over-the-top acting, but the way it poorly handles its message results in both the heart and the main characters to feel weak. Not to mention its use of celebrities feels soulless with how their purpose was more for marketing material. I am positive that both young children and Paw Patrol fans will have some fun with this, and it's great to put on to keep them distracted for around 80 minutes. But I wouldn't recommend this for anyone older as much as I would for the first movie. By the way, before the film starts, there is an animated short that appears beforehand called Dora and the Fantastical Creatures. It's your typical episode of Dora the Explorer, complete with audience interaction, but it really plays a lot with animation styles and colors that it at least makes it very pleasant to look at. By the way, if you enjoyed this review, then give this a like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Like the short, I also provide content that are pleasant to watch. This may be a downgrade from the first Paw Patrol movie, but at the end of the day, this is a children's film and it's made just for them. Don't ask me if it's good or not, let the kids be the judge.